Ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin, allow me to make a few announcements. I would like to remind all of the participants to register your attendance by clicking the link. Please remember Microsoft Teams platform webinar is a requirement to participate in the policy. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin, allow me to make a few announcements. I would like to remind all of the participants to register your attendance by clicking the link provided in the chat box. Please remain on this Microsoft Teams platform until the end of the webinar. Your attendance in this today's webinar is a requirement to participate in the PolyCC Newscasting Competition 2021. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greetings to Surveyor Haris Fazilah bin Abdul Halid, Director of Seberang Pride Polytechnic, Dr. Zulha, Deputy Director Lan bin Mustafa, Director of Academic Supports of Department, Heads of Distinguished Training Consultant from Icon Academy, panel of educators, lecturers of polytechnics and community colleges, and participants from polytechnics and community colleges. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all of you in this Microsoft Teams platform. Welcome to PolyCC Newscasting Webinar 2021. I'm Jumiwati binti Abdul Rahman, your MC for the opening ceremony and webinar today. On behalf of PolyCC Newscasting 2021 committee, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Appreciate you taking your time to join us today. PolyCC Newscasting 2021 is an PolyCC Newscasting webinar 2021 program by the students at Development Division and Seberang Perai Polytechnic and Malaysian Polytechnic Council, MPs. Before we go any further, let's get a blessing from the Almighty. I would like to invite Ustaz Ibn Ismail to meditation.
Bismillah. Lillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Maghdubi 'alaihim wal Alhamdulillah wassalatu was Muhammadin wa ala Allahumma ja'al akhiruhu khawatimuhu khaira ayyamina yawma fi ya syukur kehadratmu kerana dengan izin kami kumpul dalam bina PolyCC ya Allah dan agama kami, tubuh badan kami. Allah ya alim, jadikanlah dan kurniakanlah kami lewati darimu dan ampunanmu di hari yang kami lalui dengan petunjuk dan inayahmu, diakhiri kejayaan. Ya Allah ya Muhammad, kurniakanlah kami kekuatan dan keimanan untuk menghadapi serangan dan rintangan baru ini. Ya Qahhar Ham wa ya Kashifal Gham, kurniakanlah kami petunjuk dalam menuju kejayaan dan dekatkanlah kami iman dan lindungi kami dari melakukan kemungkaran. Berkatilah perjalanan dan kami mohon pelindungan dan melakukan keburukan. Jam'ana hadza tafarruqana min farqan ma'suma taj'al lahumā la man yasba'una la matrudan wa la mahar zunubana baquna bil iman bina ghilla lil manu rabbana ra'ufur rahim rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad alihi wa sahbihi wasallam lillahi rabbil alamin.
for the Doa recitation. Without further ado, with great honor, I'd like to invite Surveyor Haris Fazilah bin Abdul Halid, Director of Seberang Perai Polytechnic, to deliver an opening speech.
Thank you, Puan Jumiawati Abdul Rahman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Distinguished Polytechnic Seberang Perai Management Team, training consultants from ICON Academy, panels of adjudicators, lecturers of polytechnics and community colleges, and participants from the polytechnics and college and community colleges. It is a great pleasure and honor to be here today to welcome all the invited guests and participants to the PolyCC Newscasting webinar and competition entitled Where Talents Meet Inspirations. On behalf of the Polytechnic Seberang Perai, I warmly welcome all the participants from various polytechnics and community colleges who are joining us this morning through Microsoft Teams. This year, we are holding the webinar and the competition remotely due to the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you very much for your valuable presence. The social distancing due to the COVID-19 crisis has prevented us from holding a physical workshop, whereby face-to-face interactions are more personal than online interactions. Having face-to-face interaction means information is easily disseminated. Participants are free to mingle. Thus, information is easily retained. However, we are sure that the COVID-19 crisis will not prevent PSP from holding an exciting and informative webinar to bring together participants from various polytechnics and community colleges. Without a doubt, the workshop's primary mission, just like any other students' programs and competitions organized by our polytechnics and community colleges that cannot be stopped and have not been stopped, events such as the PolyCC Newscasting webinar and competition 2021 must also continue to put training, consultants and participants in contact while searching for a winner in the PolyCC Newscasting competition. Distinguished guests, facilitators, lecturers and participants, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to technologist Zainab binti Ahmad, the Director General of Polytechnics and Community College Education Department, and my appreciation to Puan Nuraniza binti Muhammad Yusuf, the Director of the Polytechnic and College and Community College Students Admission and Development Division, for their generous support in financing the webinar and the competition. I would also like to express my gratitude for the continuous cooperation and commitment from all the committee members for planning and hosting this Polytechnic CC Newscasting webinar and competition 2021. Not forgetting the facilitators from ICON Academy for sharing their experience, knowledge, and skills in the field of newscasting with the participant in this webinar. Department of Polytechnic and Community College Education has taken the effort to set up the Malaysian Polytechnic Communication Enhancement Council with the aim to improve communication skills among students. The Council has successfully organized the Malaysian Polytechnic English Festival since 2018, which includes various English competitions such as storytelling, debate, public speaking, spelling bee, Scrabble, and Newscasting, which aim to enhance the level of English proficiency among students in polytechnic and community colleges. For this year, Polytechnic Sprang Pride is responsible for hosting this PolyCC Newscasting webinar and competition in the collaboration with Polytechnics and Community College Student Admission and Development Division. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian higher education system is increasingly influenced by globalization, particularly related to graduates' competitiveness in the labor market. To ensure better job marketability opportunities for future graduates, the Polytechnic and Community College Education Department realizes that the importance and the need for students to improve their English proficiency, be it during their studies or at the workplace. In order to fully support the country's development, polytechnic and community colleges must organize more language programs and competitions to let students participate. More language programs and competitions will encourage students to use the language and thus improve student English level of proficiency. Good command of English is very much needed in today's workplace. Thus, having a good command of the English language and confidence in delivering it will often determine the student's success in the workplace. Participants in this webinar will have the opportunity to learn some of the skills that are needed to become a good presenter in newscasting. The webinar will have 6 sessions, and these sessions will touch upon some critical topics of newscasting, such as the basis and art of delivering news, newscasting text, strengths and strategies in effective newscasting. The facilitators will teach participants the basic techniques for delivering news, provide technical exposure on the art of news presentation, teach participants how to write effective text, and finally, provide constructive contextual exposure in delivering news during this 2-day webinar session. Thus, this webinar session has been designed to be practical with lectures, examples, exercises to provide skills, encourage participants, enhance creative mode, and enhance information and exchange information. I am very pleased to have the Icon Academy as our partner and its experienced group of resource persons involved in delivering the input in this webinar. They are Puan Ezreena Amir Hamzah, a TV3 news presenter, Encik Ramzan Muhammad Sofi, a TV3 news presenter, and Puan Zaira Sri Zakaria, a TV9 news presenter. These facilitators will share, explore, and discuss the concepts and issues related to newscasting. I'm sure that you will find the discussion interesting and valuable, and that there will be a lot of interactions between participants and facilitators. The presence of the expert facilitators and students participation will add to the webinar and competition's success. I'm looking forward to seeing the positive outcomes of the webinar over the next 2 days, as well as the students' competitive attitude towards the semi-final and final rounds of the newscasting competition. I strongly encourage all of you to be actively engaged in the webinar sessions and do your best in the semi-final and final rounds of the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end my speech, I would like to take this opportunity to once again thanks the officers in the Polytechnic and Community College Student Admission and Development Division, as well as the staff of Polytechnics Bramprai for their tireless work in the preparation of this webinar and competition. Not forgetting the participants for their valuable presence. Without them, there would be no webinar and competition. I would also like to thank the facilitators for accepting our invitation to share their knowledge and lead to discussion. I wish the facilitators and participants a fruitful and thoughtful 2 days of an interesting and beneficial workshop. And best of luck for the competition. Finally, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful, I declare the official opening of the PolyCC Newscasting webinar and competition 2021. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the webinar. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Surveyor Haris Fazila, for the inspiring speech just now. For your information, the PolyCC Newscasting webinar for 2021 will be held for 2 days, starting from today, October 6, 2021, until October 7, 2021. The objective of having this webinar is to provide exposure and some input on newscasting to help the participants prepare for the policy competition in 2021. There are 6 sessions in this webinar, and we are honored to have 3 well-known personalities to share their experience, knowledge, and skills with us throughout the webinar. Now, let me introduce the speakers to you. Our first speaker is Ms. Ezreena Amir Hamzah. Ms. Ezreena is a TV3 news presenter from year 2014. Besides that, she specifically in foreign and general desk from year 2010 until now. She is also an MC and a social media influencer. The next speaker is Mr. Ramzan Muhammad. Mr. Ramzan is also 2014 until now. Besides that, he is a CAE cabin and ground instructor. For your information, he has been involved in aviation industry as a cabin crew for more than 20 years. He is also an MC and a social media influencer. Bonus info, he is the second runner-up of Metro Man Search 2011. Okay, now, last but not least, our next speaker is Ms. Zaira Sri Zakaria. Ms. Zaira is a TV9 news presenter. She is also an English lecturer at Pusat Latihan Polis Polapol, Kuala Lumpur. She is now pursuing her Master of Education in English Language. She is also over talent. I must say, we are lucky, well-known and talented throughout the webinar. Don't forget to mention and ask as many questions as you want, because I believe this valuable chance won't come twice. Now we have come of the opening ceremony. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Surveyor Haris Fazil Abdul Khalid, Director of Bramprai Police, PSP management team, and all the honorable for spending some time opening session. And I'd like to invite the Rangprai Polytechnic and all the honor and the participants to turn on your camera for a group photo. Once again, thanks for joining us today. The camera. One, two, three. Okay, thank you everyone. For the PolyCC Newscasting Webinar 2021. Thank you for joining us today. As for the participants, please remain in this platform because we are going to start our webinar soon. Okay, we will start our webinar session later, soon. So please, for the participants and the accompanying lecturers, you may stay in the webinar for now. Okay, other guests, you may leave the webinar. Thank you. Okay, Miss Ezreena, are you there? Miss Ezreena? Ezreena, I'm sorry. Hello?
Hello, yes. Hi, good
Okay.
morning.
Hi, good morning, Miss Ezreena. Hi, okay. Can we start now? Are you ready to start?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. So let me check whether we can start now or not. I'm waiting for the queue. Wait, Okay. Okay, we will now start the first session, the first webinar session. I would like to invite Ms. Ezreena, Amir, Hamzah to be with us for the first session and second session actually, okay? So before that, I would like to introduce our speaker today. So Ms. Ezreena is a TV3 news presenter from year 2014 until now. Besides that, she is also a TV3 broadcast journalist, specifically in foreign and general desk from year 2010 until now. So she is also an MC and also a social media influencer. So without waste any more time, I would like to pass this platform to Ms. Ezreena. Over to you, Ms. Ezreena.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Thank you, Puan and Jumiwati Abdul Rahman, for introducing me. And thank you for earlier to the director of Seberang Perai Polytechnic, Surveyor Harith Fazilah Abdul Khalid, and to all the heads of department, heads of unit, lecturers of polytechnics and community college. To all the participants, thank you for being here with me today, although virtually, but I still hope that I can still see you one day. So Alhamdulillah, thank you very much for inviting me. I hope that today's session will be beneficial to each and everyone who is attending to this webinar. All right, so without further ado, I'm so excited. I really cannot wait to share all the experience, and thank you for assisting me with the slides. And I hope that my line is stable enough. If it's breaking or anything, please let me know. If not, I will be short sendiri and be talking all along, and I didn't know whether you are getting it or not. So now, first of all, before I start, may I please humbly, kindly request for all the participants to switch on your camera, because it's not fair. You can only see me, I cannot see you. So it's only fair if you can turn on your camera and I can see how presentable and how wonderful my participants are today. Thank you. I can see Kim Zikri for the first one to switch on the camera. Thumbs up. Nur Laila, I hope I can see everyone. With my, yes, I can see more people now. All right. So if you have any question, if you have anything to ask, please, you can just raise your hand. And I hope that if I don't realize your question or you're raising your hand, please, maybe Miss Diana or can inform me that, or the MC can inform me that there is a question needed to be raised. And if not, I'll just try my best to make sure that everyone gets what I'm presenting today. So welcome to the world behind newscasting. I'm Ezreena Amir Hamzah. So my full name is actually Nur Intan Ezreena Amir Hamzah. It's too long. They say they cannot fit into the screen. You have to cut it out. So I don't want to cut my dad's name. I cut my name. So I thought it would be more celebrity looking. So here I am, Ezreena Amir Hamzah, but people will usually call me Intan. It's simpler. Ezreena more like, glamour, something like that. So I'm actually, this is my first time doing this virtually. So forgive me if I have not, reached your expectation, but I will try my best. And please bear with me and join me with this adventure, because you might think that, why am I here today? Why should I learn about the world behind the newscasting? I'm not going to be a news reader one day, but the knowledge, the input that what I'm sharing with you all today can be used throughout your life, because I'm not going to teach you only about to become a news reader, but the knowledge, the voice projection, the way you bring yourself, the way how to become confident, the knowledge that at least will help you and to enhance and for you to be a better version of you. First of all, before I forget again, thank you to all the participants for wanting to be here with me today early in the morning for 2 days. Come on, we have to make it good. This webinar has to become, something that you enjoy. So, and I actually would like to share with you that if I can see the engagement and like the 5 top students who are very giving the full cooperation with me, I might have something for you. I do have something for you. So what is this? It's still a secret because I still want you to stay on with me. So bear with me and let's go on to this adventure. All right, maybe we can move to the next slide, please. All right, so this is me in the picture. I may look bigger or prettier or maybe less pretty. I don't know. But basically, they have introduced me. So actually, I didn't enroll myself to be a news presenter. I took bachelor in TESOL. I was supposed to become a teacher. I was supposed to become a lecturer, an English lecturer. So I said, because my family, we have teachers, we have educators. So I told my mom that what if I wanted to do something else, just so that I have something, a different career in my family line. So I pursue in TESOL. I follow her wish. So that to have the keberkatan in our life. So and then I finally graduated, and then I told her that can I please try to be on TV or something. So luckily there was a program where they pick like a 30 people around our country, so to be like a trainee in the journalist program. So from the program I become a trainee journalist, and then they finally, after 4 months, I become the journalist. So it's how I started. I started as a journalist first. And since they thought that I'm good in English, they thought I wasn't very good, I think. So which is why I didn't become an educator. So then I become a journalist, and then I was assigned to the foreign desk. So foreign desk was quite challenging because I wasn't aware of all the news and everything, and then I have to learn about the foreign news. So everything was new to me, and I didn't look like this back then 10 years ago. So along the line, I've traveled and I've discovered and I ventured myself. So all the processes, right? I didn't know I was going to be a news presenter. I do have the ambition of wanting to be on TV because it's something that we don't have that in my family. So which is why here am I today as a news presenter instead of a lecturer. So these are all the things that I've done throughout my years. Some of it, like I've managed to interview the Hamas leader Khalid Mashal, and I've interviewed my favorite professor, Dr. Chandra Muzaffar. You should have seen him. He is amazing. You can just ask him anything, he can just answer just like that. Political issues in our country, political issues outside our country, he knows everything. So he was amazing. Then I get to report from Bangkok during the political riots, and I got to follow the trip with our previous Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Najib Razak. Then also have some live coverage during ASEAN Summit, and the rest are with the next slide. Okay. But after 8 years in the foreign desk, I thought, what if I want to do something else? I'm the type that I want to explore. I want to learn more. So enough with foreign desk, I asked to be transferred to the general desk. So where I covered local news, political news, everything local news. So then if you can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. This is Ibu Retno Marsudi. She was the foreign minister from Indonesia. So she was very kind. She was in KL back then. I didn't remember which year was this. I was slimmer and younger, obviously. Less makeup to cover all the wrinkles. Then my biggest moment was when I got to cover presidential election in Indonesia. It was very amazing. It was very interesting because they had the campaigns during fasting month. So 10 days in Indonesia, it was a fasting month, but you have to work 24/7 a day. So it wasn't easy, but it was interesting. So that's why being a journalist, they have this like interesting path, because you will never know what you're gonna discover in your life. So I like that kind of adventure. And I covered some stories from Japan, and I managed to go to Sri Lanka. It was the most difficult trip ever, because Sri Lanka, I wasn't very familiar of the place, and I got to go to Brussels. And my biggest moment was when I was selected to be one of the participants to join their journalist program in the USA for 3 weeks. So that's how I learned that by being a journalist, that I got to be a leader, I got to be a participant, I got to be a team player. So being a journalist is something like you got to be everything. It's like an actor where you get to pretend or be in a character that you never be, you know. So journalist is something like that. If you want to know how it is a very demanding work, because the working hours is very long. But if you're still young and single, is the best job ever, because you get to go to places that you would never ever dream of. All right, so can we go to the next slide, please? So from a journalist, and in 2014, I started to learn how to be a newsreader. So then slowly my career works like that. So then it's like a development for me from a student, from a TESOL student, I become a journalist, and then I become the news presenter, and here am I talking to you all. So I would like to share you with my video, one of my experience when I was a journalist. This is something that back then in few years back, I can't remember the year, but maybe you can play the video for me, and I hope you all can take a look at it. I hope the sound is okay. I can see Olivia, is it? Nice smile you have there.
Laporan dibuka sejak jam 8 pagi dan ditutup jam 6 petang. Laporan lanjut bersama wartawan Ezreena Amir Hamzah.
Di Kuala Lumpur, ribuan rakyat Indonesia mula keluar hari ini untuk membuang undi bagi menunaikan tanggungjawab mereka memilih calon presiden dan juga wakilnya, bagi memastikan siapakah yang bakal menggantikan tampuk pemerintahan ataupun masih juga orang yang sama bagi penggal 2019 hingga 2024. Jokowi ataupun Prabowo, siapapun pilihannya nanti, keputusan hanya akan diketahui pada pemilihan umum rasmi pada 17 April nanti. Keadaan di sekitar kawasan pejabat kedutaan semakin sesak dari awal lagi apabila ribuan warga Indonesia yang berada sekitar ibu negara mula menunaikan tanggungjawab. Selain pejabat kedutaan, dua lagi lokasi mengundi adalah Wisma Duta dan Sekolah Indonesia Kuala Lumpur. Seramai 127,044 pengundi berdaftar, namun situasi tetap terkawal. Timbalan Ketua Polis Daerah Dangwangi, Superintendent Rudi Abdullah mengesahkan tiada perkara tidak diingini berlaku sepanjang proses pemilihan berlangsung.
Saya pilih Prabowo Sandi. Prabowo Sandi, Bo. Dia baik, dia diistimewa ulama, dia yang bela ulama. Cuma Prabowo Sandi nomor 2. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Laporan Ezreena Amir Hamzah.
All right, thank you very much. So you can imagine how hectic it was. Would you like to know that I was pregnant that time? I was 3 months pregnant, I think. It was in 2019. So it was very hot. I was pregnant, and there were so many people, but it was so interesting because they are actually nice. They're just too excited. So by being a journalist, you actually have to know how to gauge the situation and how to work with the situation. So it was yeah, it was interesting. It was in KL, actually, in front of the Indonesia embassy in KL. So it was one of the perks of being a journalist, because you got to be to situations that you would never dream of. But you also have to take care of yourself. You have to be very careful that, that you have to take care of your safety and your cameraman's safety. That I will go on further. So now I hope you are all wide up and awake, and please join me, and I hope you will be interested to yes, you can go to the next slide. I hope you all can be interested to what I'm sharing. Okay, now, before we go further, what is news? It's actually an oral or written report of a past, present, or future event. So it can be a before previous event, or it can the current one, or the future one. So the communication of selected information on current events, and it's factual, truthful, accurate, unbiased, and interesting. So when you say unbiased, how unbiased can you be? So it depends on the organizations. Some organizations, they have this, like, you have to follow on certain kind of uh, leaders, for instance, certain rulers. So they have to depend on that by being unbiased, not biased, something like that. Okay. So there are elements of news. If you can go to the next slide. So one of the elements of news is the timeliness or immediacy. It's the newest angle of the story. News have to be new. It has to be recent or current. It has to be now. So if it happening like 3 days ago, it wasn't news anymore. So you have always to become like, you have to keep up to date to what's happening in the world. Like now we are very, very overwhelming with COVID cases, with the vaccination program, and we have that is our main news, our main priority now. So you have to know and keep up to date. And the proximity or nearness, how far it is, how near it is, and the interest, how interesting it is, how it's will affect and will raise interest from the viewers. And you can see the elements also is the consequence, the impact of an issue to an individual's life. So sometimes one news might be impactful to some other people. Some other news are not so impactful. So it depends. But there are news that we have to cover every day, like the one that carries our prime minister, our political leaders, and that is news that we have to cover. But we have to choose which issues are the most prominent. And I said prominence, people that are prominent to wealth, social position, or achievement. And also drama, one of the elements, because it adds color to the story. When we say drama, it wasn't like a drama, like, you know, at the 7 p.m. drama every day at TV3, but it's more like a sense of feeling in the story. Is it a sad story? Is it a success story? Is it a tragedy? That kind of drama. So moving on to the next slide. And news also carries something that is weird or unusual. If we can move to the next slide, please. All right, so something strange or unnatural. So we also cover that. But how natural or strange can it be? So it depending on the value of the news that we cover and the conflict. Also, conflict revolves around the people that are prominent to wealth, social position, or achievement. So usually we cover people that people are famous. So usually because we want to know more about them. And like I said, the emotions, which adds color to the story. But we say the elements of sex is more with like a marriage, divorce, or dating, that kind of. This one is kind of like a soft news stories, and progress, or maybe like an invention, or maybe like the vaccination program, and or maybe something that our country is going to produce our own vaccine. So that kind of story that we cover. So basically, news are something that have impact to everyone. Okay, if you can move to the next slide. So there are types of news stories, and if you can look at the scope or origin, there are local news, which is reports of event that takes place with the immediate locality, and we have national news. Like, okay, local news is like if I'm in KL, the news around in KL, all about Klang Valley in Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, or Putrajaya. That is my local news. So when you say that is national news that take place within the country, so everywhere. And we also have regional news like the issues or stories from Johor, from Perak, from Sarawak, and all this in the regional stories. And we also cover foreign news that takes place outside the country. And what kind of foreign news that we cover? Usually political stories, a disaster, tragedy, something like that, and or maybe success story sometimes. And the Dateline news is something that news that is happening now or before or something like that, because we do more research on the story. So there was a story of chronology or sequence, and it's something that is more advanced because you anticipate. For instance, like how can I put it in example? Okay, like the vaccination program that they anticipated they will launch it by December, for instance. Yeah, is an example. So you can carry that kind of story even though it's still not happening yet. Okay, and we also have spot news that is gathered and reported on the spot, like I did in my video earlier. It's a spot news. And coverage news. What is coverage news? It's news that have written from a given beat or assignment. It's more like your editor will assign you, okay, I want you to cover this story on the invention of something, so that kind of coverage is something that is assigned to you. It's not current, but it's something that can be shared to the audience. And follow-up news usually is something like for instance, for is disaster or tragedy, for instance, like a flood, probably a flood situation. And then we have follow-up news. So what happens now? Is there helps given? Are the people okay or not? Are they survive? How many affected? So we have follow-up news. Okay, now news is actually interesting because um, they happen every day, and that you don't have to keep it too long, so it's very trendy and current. And if you're working in the news industry, um, you don't bring your work back to your home. That's why it's something it's interesting too. So you just finish everything at work, so that's it. You don't bring your work back unless you're doing a special report which needs a deeper understanding, or you have to dig deeper. Okay, now we can see the video 2.
Ketika ini, kediaman Tan Sri Muhyiddin di Bukit Damansara
Okay,
terus
this is
menjadi
recent.
tumpuan termasuk media.
Bagi mendapatkan perkembangan terkini, kita terus saja ke sana bersama wartawan Ezreena Amir Hamzah. Ezreena.
Terima kasih Malik dan Hawa di Sri Pentas. Saya kini bersiaran secara langsung di kediaman, di luar sebenarnya kediaman Perdana Menteri Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin sekitar dari awal jam 3 petang tadi, kerana kami mendapat perkabaran terdapat berlaku satunya mesyuarat yang berlangsung di rumah. Kini teruskan bersama kami dalam Buletin TV3. Anda juga boleh menonton kami dalam Facebook dan juga YouTube. Apapun, teruskan bersama kami. Kami cuba bawakan perkembangan yang terbaik untuk anda. Kekal selamat dan jaga diri. Saya kira itu saja yang dapat saya kongsikan. Saya akan masih berada di sini dan akan terus membawakan perkembangan kepada anda, insya-Allah. Sekian saja daripada saya. Terus kembali ke Sri Pentas. Terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Ezreena, teruskan pemantauan dan memberikan maklumat terbaru kepada kami.
Alright, so that one was recent before we have a change of our Prime Minister. So being a journalist, it wasn't all shiny and glamour. You have to stay outside on the road, on the streets, from day to the night. So it was something interesting as well. So what I would like to highlight on that video was that how the newsreader tossed to a live reporter and how the reporter tossed it back to the news presenter. So there's a flow like that and things that you can say or not. I'm sorry that the video is in Malay, but I will guide you on the English version throughout our scripts later. So because I'm attached to the main bulletin news, so which is why all the news that I've done is in Malay. All right. So basically, there are things that that we learn. We have a format and we have a structure. So it can be learned if you are, you want to know more about it. All right. So what is actually newscasting? A newscast is a news program that is broadcast on the radio, television, and now because we are hit hard by the pandemic, so we rely more on the social media platform, on the digital platform, for instance. All right. So people can actually access to the news everywhere they go. So it's easier now. So it's no longer only TV, only on radio. So you can be accessible, which is why news is much more important now, because people want to know what's happening. People want to know what happened if something happened to them, for instance, for COVID cases. So what happened if, what happened what, and there are fake news, right? So too much reliance on social media makes you become sometimes paranoid. So which is why we from the news industry, the mainstream, that we bring the actual and the factual news for the people to refer. So which is why it is very important that we carry news that brings closer to the people and to the audience. Okay. So in the newscasting, who are the people involved? Right? If we can move to the next slide. So when we say about who are the people involved, we have like two main teams. One is a news gathering team. We have the journalists, we have the editors, we have the head editors, and we also have the cameraman. So these people are the one who are responsible to find the story, to write the stories, to check on the stories, to give visuals for the story. Because TV, you can't, you cannot do without the visuals. And there are certain cases where we rely on graphics or on statements or on pictures or photos, yes, but most of it, like 70% of it, it has to be on visual. It has to be like that, because this is what that is our strength. So these people gather the news, and there are another team that will produce the news. So we move on to the next slide, and we will have the producers, we have the executive producers, the technical teams, the visual editors, the graphic editors. So producer is like the gatekeeper. They are the last person that will check everything. So they carry this big responsibility. Actually, everyone carries a big responsibility, but producers, they have to decide which stories have to be put in the news, which story have to be dropped. So they will be held by the executive producers. Okay, and when we say technical teams, who are they? They are like the one who, like the audio man, the one assisting the technical stuff, like whatever, like the line or the situations in the studios. And the visual editors, they edit the visual for us, and the graphic editors if we need to have graphic. So there are many people behind the scene. Actually, when you can only see the two people or the one person who is reading the news, there are many people behind them that brings out the world of the newscasting. So this is the person or the one that involved in the front page. So the news readers. So you always say something like, when you read the news or when you watch the news, why is the reader fumble? Why is the reader this? Why is the reader that? You know, it wasn't easy to be on the screen or on air. It wasn't easy to trying to justify or trying to make everyone understand or make anyone likes you. So it wasn't easy at all. But that is a challenge that you have to face if you want to be a newsreader. You are being criticized, or sometimes people actually like you because of the way you bring the stories. So it depends on what you want to be. If you want to be a good one, be a good one. Because sometimes when you are sincere, people can actually tell when you are sincere. So sometimes you bring your sincerity in reading the news, so people will actually get it. So I believe that whatever we do in our life, we have to have the heart and we have to be sincere. So that's how it will portray on your face. Because if you are acting of it, because if you're putting just a show, people can actually tell. So it's very important. How you carry yourself will carry how you carry the news. Okay, now what is actually in the news bulletin? So there are lineup stories. Comprises of headlines of local news, business news, sports news, foreign news, and also paid news. What is headlines? Those are important. Like for instance, like yesterday, like they are going to build institution for the vaccine program. So something like that. So usually the first main news and the first 10 to 15 minutes are all local news. All right. Sometimes they are foreign news as well, but it depends on what kind of foreign news. So business news and sports are depending on the segments, and the paid news is actually something that the client paid us, and then we will carry the stories. Okay. How long is the duration of each story? Sometimes they are 30 seconds, sometimes they are 1 minute, so sometimes they are 4 minutes. So it depends on the weight of the stories, depends on the urgency of the stories, depends on the news sense of the story, depends. So the read over is something like when the reader will read it live. So usually it will not be more than 1 minute, because if it's too long, the reader will pengsan. So because it's so tiring trying to speak up for 1 minute, composing yourself, it wasn't easy. So it cannot be longer than 1 minute. And a voiceover is something that is recorded. So the reader will only read on the first two paragraphs, and the rest are all recorded. So when it is recorded, it can be longer. When it is longer, it can be you can add more on into it, like graphics or slides, or more, you can choose more visuals to enhance the strength of your story. I hope everyone so far okay is not sleeping. I wish I can see you all, that if I see anyone sleeping, I can just go to the table and hey, something like that. But too bad I can see Iza is probably writing something. No, one person is raising their hand. Can I get someone to say something for me? Can I see who is raising their hand?
It's me.
Yes.
I'm
Is it Iza?
Safura Najla.
Safura, okay. Safura, I cannot see you. I hope.
My camera is on.
Oh, you can. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Just the interface on my iPad that I cannot see everyone.
Oh.
But it's okay. I can hear your voice. May I know what do you want to ask?
I actually wanted to ask about the first video that was shown.
Mm-hmm. What is it about? Hi Safura, thank you.
See? Okay.
Okay, now what can I help?
While you were talking to the camera, how do you like silence the voice behind you? I see the crowd was pointing, holding sign. Like, how
True.
do you handle that? Usually that kind of thing get me frustrated.
True. Have you ever done that before? Something like in the crowd where it's too loud. Have you been in that situation before?
I just go to toilet.
You can't go to the toilet. You have to record yourself. All right. Safra, okay. Basically, okay, you have to understand that I took that when it was in 2019. So I was in the industry for already about 8 years. So how I channel myself and not think of people behind me, all the crowds, is based on the years I've been working. For the first year, I might have not done like that. I probably will be shouting with them. I was like, hey, diam lah, but you can't. You have to keep composed. So I think the experience taught me to become more calmer, and it's just something that you actually have to very focus. So the key is to be very focused, to kill off the sounds at the back. You can just and then you have to know that you cannot shout on the mic, because even though it is very loud, it's very noisy, but your mic will pick up your voice. So you really have to compose yourself. It wasn't easy, but it can be done through the times and trainings. But it was very interesting, actually. They are actually very nice. They know I was pregnant, so you have to talk to them, even though they look like they want to kill you at one time, but they don't. They are actually very nice. They offered me water, they offered me some bread because they thought I might be passing out, something like that, but they are actually very nice. So it's how you bring yourself, it's how you carry yourself. If you're nice to people, people will be nice to you. So they are actually excited. So you can't blame them. It's their election. How I wish I was excited like them when every time it is the election in our country. So I think that how to reduce the noise is that you have to appreciate and to actually let them be, and just bring yourself and focus. But it was recorded, so one time maybe it wasn't happening like that, so we can just record it again. But be patient is one of the key too. Sometimes they are too noisy. I actually have the video where they actually came. They are like bugging me in the video, but I have to be like, oh, it's okay. But in your heart, it's like, boleh tak, something like that. But you don't show that to them. Just it's okay, it's okay. But it's only in your heart. So I hope it helps to answer your question.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you. All right. So anyone else who wants to say something? So maybe I can hear some more voices that I feel quite lonely here. I'm only the one talking. It's a very lonely world. Okay, thank you, Safura. Anyone
Miss
else?
Ezreena, we have Mr. Rizwan,
Okay, hi.
who would like to.
Hi, Rizwan.
Rizwan, can you please unmute your mic?
Rizwan, are you trying to high five me or something? Can you unmute your mic and open your camera so I can see how handsome you are? Okay, while we waiting for Rizwan, anyone else who would like to jump in?
Miss Ezreena, I think
Okay, Rizwan
Rizwan,
is
are you
here.
there? All right, perhaps Mr. Rizwan is having some technical difficulties on his side.
No
Yeah,
problem.
he did respond in the chat saying that his mic is not working. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Maybe he wants to type the question so I can just address to whatever he wants to ask before we go on further. So actually the students with me today, the participants, you all are from engineering courses, right? Some are electronics, right? And some are mechanicals, accountancy, business. Is it? Am I right? I hope I see someone nodding.
Okay,
Probably
I
I'm
Yes,
can
right.
see the.
yes,
Hamzah,
you're right.
I can see the question here.
Mm-hmm.
Rizwan asks, okay, are all reporters clean shaven?
Are all reporters clean shave?
A shave, yes.
Okay. So actually we have to, because we don't want our facial hair or our expressions distract the viewers. So if you cannot have like a very very bushy kind of facial your face has to be clean, because so that people will not be distracted. They are distracted enough with all the backgrounds and the news. So you are there as a person, like a mediator, like someone bringing the stories to the viewers. So you cannot distract them. They have the visuals to see. So you have to actually minimize that. But if it looks good on you, you still can have your facial hair, just a minimal of it, where I will touch on the next session tomorrow. We still have a long way to go, don't worry. All right. Azlan, are you okay? Are you somewhere at the shop? Alamak, dipanggil aku.
I'm at no. Actually, I have one question.
Okay,
Uh, I hope you can hear me because the wind's kind of loud.
no
Um,
problem.
so whenever you go on live,
Mm-hmm.
how do you help yourself to not stutter?
Well, stutter is usually we not stutter because they're all scripted. So you can just read on the prompter. They're like a camera, like showing everything, like every news. So we won't stutter, but we will fumble. Fumble happens when you are not focused, or you are not aware of the stories, or the story was last minute, you haven't have time to study the stories, so you tend to fumble. Or sometimes in the scripts they have errors, like the repetitive of words, so you tend to stumble because you are shocked to see why there are two words. But if you focus, you will reduce the tendency to stumble. All right. Okay, now
I have one more question.
Yes, please, Safura.
Have you ever, when you're reading news, have you ever
Mm-hmm.
come to tongue twister like seashell at the seashore, like tongue twister?
Okay, Sephora, you remind me of my tongue twister moment back in your early years. Okay, I have a difficulty to pronounce M and N because I have sinus, so it sounded more like a sengau kind of sound. So it's more mengumumkan. So it sounded like that. So it wasn't easy, but you have to practice before you go on air. So I have to say it repetitively. I have to say a few times before I go on air, or for some difficult words like menggagalkan. So usually I will always say it a few times or 3 times before the news. I will always say like menggagalkan, menggagalkan, menggagalkan. So it will help me to reduce the tongue twister. Savra, you okay? Are you excited to be
Excited, nervous.
nervous? Why are you nervous?
I meet you.
Oh, even though virtually?
Yes, so pretty.
Thank you. With the makeups, I woke up very early to make up. So we will share the makeup part on tomorrow's session. Okay, now
All right, we have another question. Do we?
Franklin.
Yeah.
Okay, Franklin. How I wish you all in front of me so I can just address the issue like that.
Hello, I'm
Franklin,
Frank. Yeah, yes.
hi Franklin. How can I help?
Need to ask a question, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
So, if if you already prepared the news, the live
Mm-hmm.
news, and suddenly the news was changed, like a different news was coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So, how you will handle the situation at the moment?
I will reduce my tempo of reading the news. If I read too fast, I will have tendency to stumble. So if I see something unfamiliar, I will try to slow down and read it slowly. That it will help me not to fumble or to be shocked with the stories. But actually, by being a newsreader, we have to always be prepared for everything, like the technical problems, or sometimes the prompter went off, or probably something went wrong with your piece of mics or whatnot. But we have a studio director that will at least tell us, okay, now there are new stories coming in, so we are okay, we are prepared. So something like that. So the team will actually help us
Okay.
to.
So another question, can
Okay.
while you're reading the news, okay, you already finished read the news. So after that only you know it's a fake news. Ever been experienced that moment?
Oh, actually, it never happened that way because we are mainstream news. We actually very careful on broadcasting the news on air. So it was never like that. Yeah.
So
Unless
got
you are portal or you are like a digital platform. So sometimes they just bring out what's new, what's latest, right? So because we are TV stations, we are mainstream ones, so we are very careful on that.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Franklin,
much.
for your
Madam,
questions.
Most welcome.
Yes.
Sorry for the interruption. My name is
Uh-huh.
Samita Raj, madam. It's been a pleasure to meet you here. Good morning, anyways.
Good morning.
Miss, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Since you are working for these years, apart from your working life, how do you still keep crowding yourself in this public? Do you feel
So
comfortable?
how I what?
How do you still keep crowding in yourself in the public? Wherever you go outside, like for shopping, for the restaurant, something like that. Because the people, do you feel very comfortable? Or have you ever received like, oh, they're so disturbing and asking for signature, something like that?
Oh, you mean the limelights of being a news presenter, something like that, is it? Okay, basically people they sometimes they recognize you and they wanted to talk to you, but they are embarrassed or shy. I noticed some kind of reaction. Sometimes they ask to take a photo, which I'll be happy to help. Um, I wasn't. I'm okay with the attention, but sometimes it gives me the pressure that I have to be on top every time I go out. Even if I go out to buy a grocery, I actually do a simple makeup because I know how I look without the makeup. So it wasn't like not because I'm not that confident, but it's because I wanted people to see the best version of me. So I don't like people to see the BB face that I have in my house. You wouldn't want to see me in the morning after I wake up. So be thankful that you are seeing me with a lot of makeup on my face, with all the hair and everything. I've become prepared for you all. So um yeah, the attention sometimes okay, sometimes tiring because but it is helpful now that we have mask, so I don't have to really make up sometimes. But I do have this eyebrow thing. Yes, I'm very concerned of my looks. I'm very vain like that because I don't want them to see me ugly. Yeah, I have that situation. But I
So sweet.
appreciate that people actually, yeah, thank you. But I really appreciate when people want to take picture with me because I think that they want to be, they actually want to talk to me. So I appreciate that attention.
Is it possible to meet you anywhere?
Wow, Franklin, is it you?
Yes, yes.
Are you asking me on a date?
No, no, not the date.
I'm
So
just
like
kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes, it is possible. Where are you, Franklin? Are you somewhere in KL?
Sungai Petani Kedah.
Oh, that is not possible in the future.
True.
Until they lift up the that we can go, you know.
Okay, I understand. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Franklin. But if you do see me, if we never know, please say hi, okay?
Sure,
Because I
sure, I
cannot
will.
see your face today. All right, so moving on. Are we okay? Can I show you my next video? I know you all guys are very excited now. Thank you for all the participation. I really appreciate it. Thank you for not making me so lonely today. Hi, Tazin, I can see you. Darsh01, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Hi, Darsh. Ridwan, I can see you once in a while. Okay, Lavinia. Nice hair. Used to have that before. Now become thinner. All the products are killing me. Okay, can we have do anyone has any questions or can I show you the next video? Now, watch the video.
Buletin utama anda bersama saya Asrul Nizam Kadir.
Dan saya Ezreena Amir Hamzah.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Belanjawan pertama Pakatan Harapan yang akan dibentangkan 2 November depan akan meletakkan Malaysia pada satu kedudukan yang lebih kukuh sekaligus memastikan kemakmuran generasi akan datang.
Perdana Menteri Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad berkata sebarang perubahan dasar kerajaan serta dasar baru yang akan diperkenalkan tidak akan menjejaskan pelaburan dan usaha sama pelabur di negara ini.
I would also like to assure investors that any change in policies will not be detrimental to.
Tambah beliau, kerajaan juga dalam proses melaksanakan penstrukturan bagi memastikan ekonomi negara terus kukuh dan berdaya saing.
We are
All right, that was me 2 years ago. I was younger, slightly prettier, I think. Well, it was my husband. So we didn't get to read on air now and then, but we did get to read sometimes. So it was one of the moments where I read the news with my husband. If you must know, my husband is also the newscaster of TV3. we met at the office. See, so you can see that by being a journalist, our life is actually at the office. Number one is the office. Number two is my house, probably, or the field of reporting. So now, when you are reading the news, there are gestures, there are movement, there are words that you have to say. So then we will touch on that later on. I will bring you and how to read the news better. All right. So where am I now? Okay, so I think we can skip to the next slide, to what is journalism. All right, basically journalism is what I do. We collect the news, we compile and we deliver the fact-based news and other related information to the general public in an unbiased manner. So the term journalism is actually describes the occupation, or more commonly known as journalists. And we are responsible to gather news from various sources. We cannot rely on one sources. For instance, if one person said A, then I cannot bring the A part to the news. I have to double check on it. I have to cross check on it. If I have a statement, then I have to double check. Is it a right statement? Is it not a fake news? So now there are so many fake news. It is becoming slightly difficult trying to distinguish whether it is a fake news or whether it's a real news. So usually whatever comes from us is factual news. We don't carry fake news for the reason to be viral, because we are a mainstream news. We have the responsibility to report what is right. So by being a journalist, you can actually become an investigative journalist, or you can be like a photojournalist, or you can be a journalist who covers only sports stories, or you can be a journalist who cover only on entertainment stories, or there is also a watchdog journalism. Watchdog journalism is something that are people like a backbenchers. They cover like political situations in the stories in our country. All right. So let me bring you to the difference between hard news and soft news. What is hard news? It actually refers to breaking news and up to the minute news about serious, timely, or hard-hitting topics that are timely and urgent. And it is usually based on facts and rigorous research. So, for example, what kind of hard news is there in our country? We have political journalism, business journalism, watchdog journalism, like I told you. International news is also hard news. Health or education. Right now, our main priority is the health situation, the COVID-19 situation in our country. So all the hard news is something that is facts. It is something that you have to convey because people need to know the information. Okay, so what about soft news? Soft news is something that focuses on lifestyle and entertainment. Okay, it is basically to advise or entertain viewers. It depends on the stories, and it usually revolves around culture, art, and human interest events. So what kind of soft news story that we cover? Like a sports journalism, entertainment, and celebrity coverage. But in the news industry, in my station, we don't carry celebrity coverage so much on the news, because it is only when the celebrity goes to jail, goes to court, or something like that. So we don't cover when they are married or they are happy kind of situation. So we have to pick, because you have to understand there are a lot of news every single day, and we have to cram everything, we have to pick everything, we have to prioritize the stories only in the 1 hour bulletin. Like in Bulletin Utama, there is it is a 1 hour news kind of program. So the rest in the morning, we have Bulletin Pagi, half an hour, Bulletin 1.30, half an hour. So you have to cram everything in a very sharp and precise to deliver to the audience. So we have to pick and choose which is more prominent and which is less important. Okay, do I have another video? Okay, let's go to the video 4. I also forgot already. Hi, Vanya. Hi, Nurlaila. Hi, Aidil. Hi, Rizwan. Hi, Muhammad Nazahan, I can see your hand. I cannot see your face. I don't know why you're showing me your hand. Okay, now I can see your face. I hope you're not bored with me. Please don't. I'll be very sad. Okay, I think this is a news reporting from Nightline, the English
All
news.
cabinet ministers have been instructed to announce their respective report card on 100-day achievement of Keluarga Malaysia aspirations to the public. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this is to allow the people to assess the performance of ministers and their ministries in ensuring the well-being of Keluarga Malaysia. According to the Prime Minister, the government has placed the achievement of Keluarga Malaysia aspirations as the utmost priority for each minister in giving their best service to the people. He said the cabinet meeting on September 10th decided that the 100 days would begin on September 1st, the day they had their first meeting. On September 24th and 29th, the Prime Minister had held sessions with all 31 cabinet ministers to finalize their lists of proposed aspirations. The implementation of all initiatives for each aspiration was based on 6 key thrusts, namely restructuring the economy, assuring national security and public order, enhancing social well-being, improving overall infrastructure, strengthening unity based on the Keluarga Malaysia model, and empowering service delivery. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the Office of Chief Secretary to the Government, the Malaysian Administrative Modernisation and Planning Unit, MAMPU, and the Shared Prosperity Delivery Unit, SEPADU, will act as joint coordinator to ensure the success of the planning, implementation, monitoring and improvement of each aspiration proposed by the Cabinet Ministers.
All right, so that is Raymond Goth, the legend in the news, Nightline news especially. He has a golden voice that carries carries weight to the news, and he looks so natural presenting to the audience. Why? Because he has been done it for so many years. So the language is embedded to him. How to read the news? I think he can just read the news while sleeping. It's that amazing. And he has a very deep voice that he can actually help you to transform your voice through some exercises and trainings. Now, all the videos that I've shown you, actually, I can share with you later, so you can keep it and actually look at it for your reference when you are making your video later. So I understand that you have to make to the news reading videos, you have to make the soft news and hard news. So then if you have questions on soft and hard news, how to differentiate, please please ask me, so we can help you to choose or to see the options of the news that you can do to make your own video. So I understand that you have to do your own video by putting some visuals, and there are some formats, right? I think so. If you have any problem on that, please ask me, or what kind of visuals and what is actually that has to be in the video. We also have a next session after this, after we have a short break, that I will bring you to closer to the scripts, how we write the scripts and everything. So now, if you have any question that you would like to ask, please do so. Yes, please.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Can I see? Okay. Hi, Sephora. Wow. Thank you for being so wonderful today. Yes,
I
how
really
can I
like to
help?
ask question.
I really like you to ask questions.
Have you as we all know, we all have each other option in something like politics or business. The how do I say this? When you read something that you don't disagree, how do you maintain that still face that, like, that you don't dislike that, like, you're not biased face, but inside you are, I hate this. This is not true.
How can you say it's not true? I don't know. Well, we do have that
No, because we have
straight
each other
face.
belief, right?
True, true. I agree with you. We do have that's why by being a newsreader, you have actually to be very professional. You cannot bring your thoughts, you cannot bring your personal belief to the stories. Sometimes you don't like the person, but you have to carry the stories. So it's either you don't show any emotion or you just have a straight face, but you don't go and smirk at the people that you don't like or show like you don't like it. You cannot show it. So you have to be very professional, even though you don't like the person, because it's not your opinion, in the story. It's not you that matters in the story. It's the audience that matters. So you cannot be biased because you have to give them the options to choose whether they like or not like the person. So if you show that you don't like the person or the stories, then you are being unfair to your audience because you actually influence them. So you cannot be that, which is why you have to very professional. So when you just keep it to your heart. Sometimes you don't tell everyone what you are feeling, right? Like I'm hungry. I don't tell you, oh, I just told you. So sometimes you just keep it to your heart and tell your friends.
Thank you very much, Ms. Safura, for the question. Ms. Ezreena, we have more questions here. Can we have Noor Zamila? Are you there, Noor Zamila?
Hi, hello everyone. Hi, Miss
Hi.
Ezreena. I have a question.
Hi.
Just now we are talking about how to maintain the natural position in regards of giving out the news. But when we are writing the news ourselves, is there any uh, guideline that we should follow for us to be able to be non-biased, for us to be able to don't lean to any specific our own idealization? How to maintain that?
Okay, thank you for your questions. Actually, it's quite hard because sometimes you have the power to write the stories, so you want to put everything that you like, not the one that you don't like. But then again, you have the responsible to be fair to the audience. So you have to actually carry both sides, even though you don't like that person so much, even though you don't like that political leaders, for instance, but you cannot. It's just that ethics. So we actually binded by ethics that whatever we do, we have to be very unbiased to up to the extent that you really can. So sometimes what I do is actually, if I don't really like certain or particular situation, I read less. So for instance, if so I do give some information, but not so much. Don't tell
Just to a
anyone else.
certain extent, is it?
Just to a certain
We
extent.
cover it, but just to a certain extent. All right.
Yeah. So actually, but then again, by being a journalist, you don't have the power to actually decide what can be covered, what not to be covered. It's up to the editors. So it's up to the editors to decide. Whatever you do have to do your job. If not, I'll be sitting outside and don't have money to pay my bills. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zamila. Is there anyone else?
Right, thank you so much, Ms. Zamila. We have Lavinia raising her hand.
Hi, Lavinia. I can see your ring light.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Miss. I'm Lavanya, representing Polytechnic Kuching, Sarawak. I would like, yeah, so I would like to ask, as for the news reading, how to read the news in a very relaxed, uh, because for this practice, I used to do videos and I kind of rushed, because it's like prompted, right? So I have to rush and read all those news on time. So how could basically help on giving the news in a very calm and very possessed way?
Okay, so when you are nervous, right, you have to identify what makes you nervous. Are you nervous because you feel like your hair is not good enough, or your makeup is not good enough, or are you nervous because you don't study on the scripts, or are you nervous because of the prompter? So when you identify the problem of making you nervous, so you address to the problem. For instance, like you said, the prompter is too fast. So what controls the prompter? Is it you? Is it the machine, or is it the applications? So I think there are settings that you can slow it down, or probably if you don't like it, don't use the prompter. Just read on a paper. Print like a big uh, font that is good enough for your eyes, on your eye level like that. I know it's not easy because you don't have the machine, the teleprompter like in the studios. But what I can think is maybe you can print the news, or if it's too long, you have to find an apps that actually works according to your pace. So if it's too fast, slow it down. Take a deep breath, take a very deep breath 3 times and calm down. Say to yourself that you can do this. So you look into the camera and you say, introduce yourself, take a moment to pause, like for instance, hi, I'm Lavinia, hi, I'm Lavinia from TV3. I would like to introduce you all to the event of launching for the vaccination program that just happened to me, or something like that. So you have to be very calm. And my friend Ramzan will teach you all to do a voice projection, and my friend Zaira later today will teach you how to handle and live reporting, also as hosting. So maybe you can get some of the information from there as well. But the voice projection is very important. It's how you bring yourself. If you must know, everyone, my voice is actually not like this. This is after training. I'm actually sounded very like a duck. Yeah, my voice is actually very small. If I talk to you all, you wouldn't believe it's me. But I have to transform my voice to cater to the news presenting. If not, you wouldn't want to listen to me if I speak like that, isn't it? So identify what makes you nervous, Lavinia.
All right, Miss. Thank you. As you said that there's an app, so what kind of apps would you recommend us?
Oh, okay. I will double check on that because I don't remember the app's name now. So let me just write it down that you want to know the apps. Okay, so I will touch on it again on the next session, and please remind me on that. Okay, thank you, Lavinia, for your questions. Okay, next. 2 people raise their hands. How can I help? Oh, I feel like a communication service center. Hello, I'm Ezreena, Amir, Hamzah. How can I help?
Hello, this is I have Miss Darshini on the line. Can she speak to you right now?
Hi, Mrs. Darshini. How can I help? How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, fine.
Can I see your face, Darshini?
No, because if I
No,
open
how
my
can you say no to me?
no,
Just
madam,
kidding.
if I open my camera, the data will low. So the connection will poor. That's why.
Okay. All right. I will try to imagine your face based on your voice. Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, my question was the first experience that madam was reading the newscasting,
Mm-hmm.
the situation. I
Okay.
want to know.
The first experience. I still remember it was in 2014. Was it? Yes. It was so nerve-wracking. I wanted to run from the studio. I was reading the foreign news. It was only 5 minutes. It was in Bulletin Utama. I had a very beautiful makeup that day. I remember the stylist, the makeup artist make a very nice makeup on me. So I was excited but scared. And I remembered I can even hear the sound of my heart beating. It was that loud. It was doop, 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 doop. And I wanted to run from the studio. It was so scary, but I cannot. So the thing of reading news is that whatever is your feelings that moment is not important, because audience, they don't want to know how hard it is. They don't want to know your feelings that moment. They don't want to know. I can hear baby's voice. Okay, they don't want to know what's happening to you. So what you have to do is actually be very composed and think of yourself like it was only 5 minutes and there you go. So yeah, it was very scary. The first time was very hard. I wish I can share the video, but we don't have that in the system anymore because it was years ago, back when we don't have YouTube and Facebook to cover or to archive our visuals.
Ma'am, did you have struck for the live telecast?
Sorry, did I what?
Did madam was struck whenever read the news?
Shock?
Struck.
Shut?
I
Oh, struck.
like
I think started, is it? Started.
no struck the reading the news.
Stuck. Is
Yeah.
it? I remember that I had troubles to pronounce this one word, merasionalisasikan. It was the longest word in my life, and I fumble. I said, merasionalisasikan, because in my head it was like rational, but in Malay it's rasional, so it doesn't gel together. That time I was still new, so what I said was like merasion. I think I was so frustrated. It can be shown on my face, like, like what? So I said merasionalisasikan. It went viral. They actually took a copy of that video. I hope you don't get to see it. I don't want to show it to all. So my boss showed it to me. Hey, you mispronounced the merasionalisasikan. I said, yeah, it was the hardest word in the world. And he said, yeah, you should use something less dramatic. But then again, it was the experience. Yeah, it happened to me. And actually, one of the moment that I still remember that I cried on the news. It was not like crying, sobbing like your boyfriend broke up with you. It's more like a teary eyes, like you try to hold your tears. It You can see it in YouTube actually. It was a very sad story. Yeah, so I hope you don't find it. It doesn't look good on me crying on TV.
Madam, I have the last question.
Okay.
How to find out the correct punctuation in the script?
The correct
Punctuation.
punctuation, like when to
Yeah.
pause, when to pronounce, or to enhance, is it?
Yes, madam.
Okay. I think Ramzan will cover that one, but the way you want to pronounce it is actually, you see something when you see the scripts, right? Oh, I don't have the scripts here on this session. It's okay. So some of the words carry more weights than others. So you will have to identify which words are more important. Like for instance, I will emphasize this on my next session because I have the scripts with me. It's easier for me to refer. So I will answer this after that. Is it possible, Darshini? Because it's easier for me to refer to the scripts.
Yes, madam. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank
All right, Miss
you.
Ezreena, are we going to keep on accepting question because
Yes.
Rizwan, I think he would like to try for the second time. I think he has fixed his issue with the mic. Rizwan, are you there?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, hi Rizwan.
Hi, Miss.
Hi.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Rizwan. I am from Polytechnic Baganato. My
Mm-hmm.
question is, I want to ask you, do you
Mm-hmm.
use any software to change your voice? Like, uh, change your voice lah.
No, I don't.
Oh, no.
Because when it's live, we don't have any software used. And if I'm talking to you now, I don't have any software installed to change my voice, but we change our voice through the techniques, through the voice projection techniques, because we do learn techniques how to transform and to work with your voice to make it deeper. You see, because usually sometimes we speak through here to our throat voice. We call it suara tekak, where it's like, hey, korang apa khabar? So it sounded like like a cartoonist voice, right? So the voice that I'm using now is from my diaphragm. Diaphragm is actually in your tummy, in your stomach. So when you take a deep breath, when you want to know whether you have a diaphragm or not, you touch on your tummy. I cannot show it now because it looks not nice on screen. So you actually touch your tummy when you take a deep breath through your mouth, and you can feel your tummy bloated. That's how you know that your diaphragm is working. It wasn't easy for the first time. I wish I can teach you all on that easily, but I try. So you touch on your tummy. I can see that you're trying. And then you take a deep breath, use your mouth. You suck the air, and you can see your tummy bloated. And when you release the air, your tummy no longer bloated. So from that, you develop the diaphragm, you strengthen your diaphragm. So when you speak through your diaphragm instead of your throat voice. So if I use, you can see, if I use my throat, it's actually like hello, hello, hello. So if I use my diaphragm, it's hello, hello, hello. So there is a difference. We can't use software to change our voice. We have to use our own body to make it work. So is that helpful? I hope I answers your question.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We can give more questions to you because you are working so hard trying to make it work. Come on, give it more to Ridwan.
Okay.
Second question. Last.
Boleh.
Do my voice sound like a news reporter or something, or is it cartoonish, like you just said?
Okay, your voice is actually quite light because you are not using your diaphragm. This is your speaking voice, right? When you talk with your friend. So when you use your diaphragm, your voice will actually be very bass one. Okay, can you try to speak like you are making a very low voice on your mouth?
Let me
Okay.
try.
Okay.
News is News is the first draft of history
All right.
by Ben Bradley.
All right. Deeper.
News is the first draft of history. Ben Bradley.
Deeper.
News is the first draft of history. Ben Bradley.
That's better. Can you maintain that voice?
Maybe.
Use through practice. You can, please. You can. If I can, you can as well.
I tried it. I
Okay.
try with that voice.
No problem. You have to drink more water.
Thank you, Miss.
All right. You can please practice, and then I will Ramzan will talk on voice projection because he has a very deep voice. He has a very strong voice to present the news. And actually, for everyone, you have the strength. It's just that we have to know the techniques, and we will work on that, inshallah. Just trust yourself, and we will work. We will work together. If I can, you can. Guys usually have a bass voice compared to women's, I think. I see more hands. Is it Franklin?
Yes, Franklin again.
Yes, Franklin.
Okay, ma'am. So from the start to end, you reading the news. So how you will handle your mood? Like I will always watch you. You will keep the mood the same to start to end, like smiling, calm. So how you handling it from start to end? Was it easy or tougher?
All right. Thank you for your question and your concern. Well, um, it wasn't easy because sometimes you don't have the mood sometimes you just fight with your friend, sometimes you just cry, but then you have to go on air. So how? All right, so let me tell you the secret. The thing is, I usually put away the feelings outside the studio. I have to teach myself that whatever I'm doing on air, it's for the audience, so it's not fair for them to actually be in my situation. Like they don't have it's not fair for them to being burdened by my emotions. So I have to put away, like, okay, now I tell myself, um put away everything. Now you are reading the news. So for instance, news is half an hour. So if it's too much to think of half an hour, I break it into every block. So the first block probably about 10 minutes. So I say to myself, okay, for the first 10 minutes, do it right. Don't think of anything else, just focus. Actually, if you tell yourself like that, you will actually do it because your mind is very powerful. Whatever you tell yourself is actually what your body or your mind will do. So which is why you have to have the strength in you. You have to identify your strength and your weakness, work with it, and tell yourself. If you tell yourself you are confident, you are confident. If you tell yourself you are scared, you are scared. If you tell yourself that you are fat, you are fat. But I am fat, so it's okay. I will work accordingly. So it depends on what you are telling yourself. So your voice to yourself is very important. because it will tell your mind to act accordingly. If you tell you are going to fall down or to stumble, to fumble, or to to make a mistake, you will make a mistake. So you have to tell yourself that you can.
Okay. So before you enter the news hall, you was you. After entering, you was a whole new person lah. So you change your mind.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of like that.
okay, I understand. Ma'am.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
You, no problem. All right. Can I see more questions? Thank you for participating with me, everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate it. If not, I become very lonely and I will cry and it doesn't look good. So next question, please. Ask anything. I will answer for today for free. If you ask me tomorrow, then I will charge.
Okay, Shazlin.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Haris.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Shazlin first. Shazlin, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Shazlin, you're very far away. Where are you?
So, can you hear me now?
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to ask how to handle the nervous feelings. Like I was chill and calm, like I can do this. But then when it comes to live station, I was like my heartbeat is like do, and my voice like people can hear my voice like clearly shaking. So how to handle the nervous feeling on live? Because before the live session, I was like, I'm okay, I'm not nervous, I'm just relaxed, calm, and chill. But then when it comes to the live session, I was like, what is this? What kind of feeling is this? So how to handle that? I'm scared.
Okay. I feel you. I feel scared too now. Okay. I understand. I really understand because this is what I feel every time I want to go live on air. Live on air is different. Live reporting is different. Reporting is actually very difficult because you don't have a script. So then again, yes, you can tell yourself not to be nervous at one time, but when it is live, you are nervous and you are racking everywhere. Okay. Do you want people to see that you are nervous? Or you want people to see the best version of you carrying the story? So you have to know that whatever you're doing is only one time, and really try to be very calm so that people actually benefit from your reporting. That's one. And second, the first 30 seconds is the most critical. Okay, you have to know whether yourself can present the story without a script or with a script. If with a script, prepare a script. Don't make yourself nervous with so many distracting things. Okay, for instance, if you have a script, then you are not less nervous. So have a script on your hand. It's okay. You are not. If you have a teleprompter, even better. So try to reduce what makes you nervous. Okay, if you are presentable enough, your voice is okay, then what makes you nervous? Prepare a script, read. It's okay. Or if you can prepare a script, remember the first paragraph. For instance, hi, I'm reporting live from KL. I'm right now. Something is happening behind me, something like that. So remember the first paragraph at least. Try to remember that. If you're not, just refer the script and just focus on the camera. Kill everything outside. It's not important. It's not important. You have to distinguish what is important, what is not. Kill everything. They are not important to you at that moment. Bye. Cut it off. Focus. Look at the camera and present your stories. Yes, it's not easy. Yes, it is nerve-wracking for the first time, but you will be better eventually. But you have to practice. So it will get better. Of course, the first time you will be very, very not ready, right? But don't kill yourself to it. So every time you do something, find something to improve. So every time you do again, then you will improve one part of you. So then next part of you. So throughout the moment, throughout the progress, you become better. You cannot do it at one time, at one day. You can, but you can be better afterwards, after certain times. All right. I hope. Okay, we will go together through this day, two days at least. So I hope you will benefit something from it. Thanks, Shazlin.
Okay. Next person, Haris. I think this one will be the last question, right? Before we proceed with another slide.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi,
Haris.
ma'am. I'm Haris, and I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Hi, Haris.
What is your biggest dilemma you've ever faced while being on air? And what would you advise us participants on things we should not do while being on air?
Okay, the biggest dilemma. The biggest dilemma would be to read political stories that I don't really like. Something that, yeah, like you said, you have a personal belief, and then you feel that maybe it's too much sometimes. So the dilemma is like, people are talking about it, things are viral about it, but you are presenting it like it's nothing happened. So that's the biggest dilemma, whether to how to compose myself not to be biased or to react to the stories. So it was always the biggest dilemma for me. But it was before. Now it's like getting better. So it gets easier to read news today. So now the dilemma is more like I don't like sad stories. I have a problem when the stories is very sad or someone is passing. I have a problem when I see kids are dying. I will cry, and it's not a good way to deal with presenting the news. I really have problem with that because now that I have a children on my own, so I become more sensitive. I cannot take it when kids dying, especially babies or toddlers. So I have a very hard time presenting news when something happened to them. I will cry. So usually what I will do is I try my best not to think about it. And when you are in the studio, there's actually a TV where they show the visuals. So I will not look at the TV. It's very difficult for me because you don't want to cry every time. It's not funny. One time people might be sympathetic to you because they think that you have a heart to a story that you are presenting. But if you cry 100 times, people will be like, what is wrong with your presenter? So you don't want that to happen. It is quite hard. It still happened to me. So every time I wish that can I do please I hope that I wouldn't find that kind of stories, but you can't run, right? So the best that I can do is not to think about it and not to look at the visual. I cannot. I will cry. I think I've cried 3 times throughout my career in reading the news. The first one was captured. The two was not captured because it was on the visuals, not on me. So I was lucky. And then I have to compose. You have to be very fast to change. Like, okay, done. Move. You have to be very fast. So you have to think fast, act fast. You have to be ready with tissues or whatever. Somebody will help you. The production team will send someone to send tissues to you. It happened to me. So that was my biggest dilemma. And the second question I already forgot because I'm old and I tend to forget things. But let me try to remember again. What was the second question?
Okay, the second question is what would you advise to us participants on things we should not do while being on air?
Okay, things that you should not do on air or when you are recording your news. You should not be prepared. Whatever you are reading, because you are not used to it, right? You have to be very prepared. You have to read the scripts. You have to be confident by being prepared, not being confident by being, oh, I can do this, but you're not prepared at all. So it can be seen in the video. So, and what I can advise as well is to deliver the news by being sincere. Like it comes from your heart. Because when you are sincere, you don't have to pretend. It's easier like that. So when you read the news, so it's more like you are bringing yourself to the stories and for the people to connect to you. So what are the things not to do? Okay, please, if you fumble, but I think you are recording your news, right? But if you fumble during live, what you can do is don't think about it anymore. Once you fumble, move on. Once you fumble, move on. Don't think about it too long, because once you think of something that makes you fumble, you will fumble throughout the reporting or through the news reading. So the key is not to think about it. You have to be like prepared, like cut it off, move it away, shove it all. So then you move. If not, you'll be stuck. If you think about it, like, oh, why did I say that? Oh, why did I do that? Oh, why did I say it? Why did I pronounce it wrongly? So no, you said it you are wrong at one time. You correct it, move on. You correct it, you move on. So yes, that's not you don't think about you have whatever you have said to. You have to like switch fast. Does that help? Is that okay, Haris? Is that answering your questions?
Yes, ma'am. It does help, and thank you so much. And such a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Haris. Is there any more questions?
We
Nazira,
have
is it?
question from, sorry, excuse me. Okay, we have question from Madam Bas.
Hi, Madam.
Hi there. I'm just, this is very interesting and something new to me as well. I just, do I have to turn on my video? Hold on. So I'm just wondering.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet everyone too. I'm just wondering, in terms of news writing, is there any guideline on what not to write, what can be written and what shouldn't be written in the news? For example, when we are reporting something about crime rates, for example, should we, to what extent we can expose the information about who is the perpetrators, who is the victims? For example, when I compare between Malaysian news and New Zealand news, in New Zealand, it's very hard that people, it is being reported who did the act. For example, the murder. For example, they don't mention who did the murder, who killed the person, in terms of the race, in terms of name. So the background will be suppressed to the extent until the court permission is given to expose the person's name and everything, even the victims. So here, many times I came across the news that I try to get the information, because we are so used when we read the news in Malaysia, we are so used to read those kinds of information. For example, if the victim is being stabbed, how many stab? How is the person? How was the person being killed, slaughtered, and everything? But here, those information is not provided in the news. Recently, there is a hot case happened in South Island, where a mother, she is a doctor, she killed all 3 daughters, her own daughters. But in the news, it wasn't mentioned how the daughters are killed. For example, they don't mention whether the mother slaughter or poison their daughters, the daughters, or how. So, to what extent? I was just wondering, to what extent we can expose the information to the society, because I noticed that, since they don't provide those kind of information, the people don't speculate too much.
True.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you, Madam Bas, for your questions. Well, when we're talking about what to expose and what not to expose regarding the crime stories, for instance, well, sometimes we tell, okay, you have to understand one thing, that news, it is very short, especially for TV. So we have a very short duration for a story involving crime. For instance, the story has to be about 1 minute. It cannot be more than that, or 1 to 2 minutes. So it cannot be longer. So we have to pick and point which are the prominent information. And then secondly, we have we can only reveal who is the perpetrator only after the court case has been indicted for them. So if they are still in remand, so we wouldn't expose the suspect faces, we will blur the faces. So and then about what they are doing, for instance killing the babies with 10 steps. So we don't disclose that kind of information most of the time, because it's too gory and not everyone can accept the news. So we have to play accordingly. There are no like guidelines, okay, you can write to up this to the extent, but we have our editor to advise. Usually we will give everything what we have, and they will decide whether this is supposed to be on air or not. So they will cut it shorter or how. But all the gory details, we wouldn't expose everything, because we don't want people to be scared. And by being, and even the visuals, we actually blur the visuals, and we wouldn't show the visuals of children, of murder situations where all the bloods are everywhere. Usually we will blur some of the parts of the visual. So what is our purpose is actually to inform, but not to the extent that they know how many steps or how gory the situation is. So I think TV is less detailed compared to newspaper, because we have a problem with our duration. We cannot be too long. So it's more like we inform but not too much, and to what extent, it will always depend on the editor, but not too gory, because not everyone can accept. Because you see now that we have so many keyboard warriors, people will always say something that commenting or criticizing. So then usually we try to reduce the amount of exposing the information, and especially that we don't want to tell so much on that, because we want to take care of the image of the family or the perpetrator or people in the situation. So we actually want to protect their image. I hope that answers, Madam Bas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions.
Okay,
Now
we have
I'm
one more
scared when
question
Madam
from...
Bas asks me question.
It shouldn't be. Okay, we have one more question from Nazirah Nazri.
Okay, Nazira, how can I help?
Okay, hi. Are you everyone listening? Okay, I'm sorry if
Everyone is.
I'm sorry if my background is quite loud. Okay, my name is Nazra from Polytechnic Tuanku Syed Sirajuddin. So my question is about when you are doing live crossover, are you how do you stay away from using filler words like like the not confidence, how to you when you get the script and you're not ready for with it, like using something like that.
Well, it's quite hard because fillers are actually helping us to think sometimes, right? So I think that sometimes if when I'm speaking to you all, I'm using fillers as well. So it wasn't easy, but what you can do is, if you are not confident to go on air live for the first time or for the first few times of your life, you prepare the scripts earlier. Just look at the script, and then pause and look at the camera, look at the script and look at the camera. So it will help you to reduce the usage of fillers, because you can't help it. I mean, we are not programmed to speak according to the scripts, right? So what you can do is prepare the script exactly what you want to say. It's okay, have the script. At least if you stumble, if you stuck, if you don't know what to say, you have your script. So when you have that, it's like a safety for you, so you'll be more confident and you will be more at ease, because at least you have a backup. So if you don't have a script, you'll be like um yes, I think yeah, that will happen. It happens to me. I think I'm still nervous until now, because I don't do much on live reporting, because I was in foreign desk for 8 years, so it was always recorded. But now my live reporting is only 2 years, so I'm still learning, and I'm still having problem to trying to remember what to say sometimes. So what I do is I prepare the scripts on my phone. So whatever it is, at least I'm confident to present. Then I will use my straight face, Okay, reporting, blah, 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 something like that. Prepare your scripts. It will help. And usually
Okay.
if I fumble, right, I smile. So I hope people will forget by looking at my smile. That's what I
All
do.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nazira. All right, I think we're coming almost to the end of our first session. Wow, we did it, guys. First session without a hitch, I think. Is anyone sleeping? Rizwan, are you okay? Okay. Safura,
Okay.
okay.
Miss
Yes.
Ezreena, since we have another 5 minutes, can we take one more question from Nur Ashikin?
Yes, no
Okay, Nur
problem at all.
Ashikin. Last question for session 1, because later we are going to have a short break and then we are going to continue with second session, which is again with Miss Ezreena. So don't worry, you will have more opportunity to ask more questions after this. Okay, Nur
Yes,
Ashikin.
do not be bored with me. We are stuck in this together.
Hello.
Hi, Ashikin.
Hello, hi, ma'am. Okay, I'm
Yes.
Shikim from College Community Kuala Kangsar. And here I have a questions regarding live reporting. Okay, since you said that there is no script during live reporting, so I would like to know how did you prepare your report at the moment, and are you doing it spontaneously?
Okay. Is that all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yes, I will prepare it spontaneously when I'm in that situation. Like I'm on the field. Like for instance, if I cover recently I cover the political unrest in our country, and when we go to the area of our previous prime minister, so you have to look around your surroundings and what's happening. You have to ask around what's happening. You have to Google what's actually what they predict what's happening inside the house for the meetings on the changes of the prime minister. So yes, everything it has to be on the go. So it's very important that you have your phone and your battery is full, your power bank, and so that you can Google everything, and that so you have okay, before you go to the reporting, right, before you go for an assignment, as what I will always call it, you actually already search some of the information earlier, so you will always have that background what's happening. So when you go to the situation, you just add it up, so at least you are not too overwhelmed by so many things to say or to write at that moment. Usually live reporting we do about 2 to 3 minutes or 4 minutes, so you will always have the background stories done as a backup for you if you don't know what to talk about. Always research. It's easy now that we have a phone, so we can just do anytime. You know that when I did the report, I don't have my phone doesn't have battery, so I have to buy the power bank using the Grab. So it's something like that. So when being a journalist, it's like you have to be ready all the time. You have to, if it doesn't happen to you, then how? What's next? What's next? You have to be very fast and trying to think of whatever you have around you to make yourself, comfortable for the reports. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We can have more questions. One more, I think, if you want, I don't mind. I'm okay. I'm all
Okay.
yours for 2 days.
Just now I see, okay, Lavinia.
Yes, Lavinia.
Yeah, once again, I would like to ask, as now we are, due to this pandemic, we are at home. So for the recording purposes, can we use this ring light? Because I used to wear spectacles, so it's like reflecting too much on my face. Would that be a disturbance, or is that okay?
All right. Do you have a lens, or you are comfortable with your specs?
Yeah, I have lens, but I do prefer wearing spectacles because I can see it very clear. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the ring light actually doesn't distract because it's common now. So it's okay. People will actually understand that you took your effort to have your ring light with you, so that you will look better on the screen, right? So it doesn't. It is not a problem, I think, for me, for the judges especially, for the video, as long as that you're doing it and you focus on the camera by speaking whatever reports that you are doing. The relax doesn't distract and at all. If it helps you, use it. If it makes you feel better, if it makes you look better, use it.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, we are now at the end of session 1. I didn't see any hands here, so I believe there's no more question for session 1. So, Ms. Ezreena, we should go for a break for a while. But I would like to ask you whether you want to, if let's say, if I see in the schedule now, tentatively we are going to start our next session at 12. So, do you want to have 30 minutes break, or you want to make it shorter so that we can end session 2 earlier?
Whichever is comfortable with everyone. I can follow everyone's wish.
Is it okay if we just have about 15 minutes? 15 minutes break?
Sure.
Right, so that we can have a longer lunch break, because maybe some of my Muslim participants, they will have to Zuhur prayers.
True,
Yeah, okay. So we are going to continue 11:45. Okay,
All
thank you,
right.
Ms.
So
Ezreena.
thank you so much. So I hope to see you all back in 5 minutes. Please don't run away. I'll find you wherever you are.
Okay.
Okay, see you again.
Okay.
Thank you for your time and for everyone's attention. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. Please come back in the teams because we are going to start our second session now. Okay, I can see more faces now. Okay, again, I would like to remind all of the participants to make sure that you have registered your attendance in the link provided in the chat box. Okay, this is just for the participants of PolyCC Newscasting 2021. Please make sure you have registered attendance in the link given in the chat box. Okay, thank you. Okay, Miss Ezreena, are you here? So again, we will proceed with second session of the webinar with Miss Ezreena. And then the topic here is what TV news scripts look like. Okay. So wait, give some time for Miss Ezreena to get ready. Miss Ezreena.
Sorry, hi, I'm back.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, so we are going to start with second session. So we
Alright.
start at 11:50, so we should end about 12:50. Okay.
All right, that's
Okay,
good.
thank you.
One moment. Can you help me with the slide? Thank you, Puan Jumina. Jumiwati, sorry. Okay, hi. Welcome back, everyone. It was a very short break. I'm sorry I took more than 15 minutes. Need to refresh. It wasn't easy, but here I am back on the screen for you. One moment. Let me just double check on my slides. Okay, so now we are going deeper. You have learned about the newscasting, the soft and the hard news and everything. What are the elements of the news? So now I want to bring you closer to what the TV news scripts look like. What is actually being reported and being on air. So you see, because TV is, we are fighting for duration. So the scripts has to be very short and brief. Everything has to be in the format so that you are presenting the right information for the audience. Okay, can we go on to the next slide? Okay, so when you say about when we talk about news structure, sorry, when we talk about news structure, news is usually straight news that consists of facts. We are given straight without embellishment. So it has to be from the most important to less important and least important. So whatever is you are talking about the news, it has to be on the first two paragraphs. All right. So what is in the first two paragraphs? We have introduction and the main point first. The lead is actually what is the gist of the story, usually containing the who, the what, the when and where, and half of the article. And then we go to the last important. We're talking about the supporting detail that backs up the above point, which is the body, which contains facts and further information that you want to explain to your viewers. And then the last, least important, is still important, but less important compared to the two, is the background or additional information. All right, okay, one moment. Can we go on to the next slide? Okay, so the treatment, right? So we have a fact story, just a plain exposition setting forth a single situation or a series of closely related facts that inform to the audience, or we have action stories, a narrative of actions involving not mere simple facts but also a dramatic events, description of persons and events, perhaps like a testimony of witnesses or more explained data. So, and we also have a speech or quote story or based on statement that written from a public address, from the speech for the prime minister, from the talks or for the speeches, statements and letters, and to some extent, some interviews like an exclusive interview. So we have different kind of situations that we cover, and what is covered, what is not covered is always depending on the news sense. Does it need to be told? Then we have to prioritize. All right. Okay, for the next slide, please. And we go for the content of the stories. For instance, like a routine story, like a normal reported events that occur year in and year out, like enrollment, festive celebration, like Hari Raya, and such. Election, especially graduation and anniversary stories. So some of the contents also can be police reports or court cases, stories or events wherein the police, the military of government authorities have to step in, or the science news, for instance, stories on science, the research and technology, and developmental news are stories on progress, on advancement, like what's current and is being done to get progress in terms of the economy, in terms of the betterment for our country. Okay, now we go to the format. How you write the scripts. What is to be put inside the story, what is not to be included. You have to bear in mind the 5 W's and 1 H. What is happening? Where did it happen? Who is involved? Why did it happen? And how it happened? So from the questions, it would help you to identify which point you want to put first and such. Okay. So when you ask, okay, usually when you are telling the stories, okay, you have to know what is the purpose of you telling a story. Are you telling a story for the people to understand, or for the people to be informed, or for the people, or you want to advise them? So first of all, you have to know your purpose, and then you work on the 5 questions and the 6th question, the 5W and 1H, to sort your stories accordingly, which is important, which is least important. Sometimes because you are not familiar, right, you don't know what to put first, or you put everything on top of everything, so you're putting so much information in the paragraph. Okay, for instance, I take one simple example. Like in one story, a simple one, we have 5 paragraphs. 5 paragraphs. The first 2 is the introduction of the story. So the first introduction, it has to hear, to get the message, but not too much to overwhelm the audience, because when you watch the news, you don't see the words, you don't read it. So it has to be very short and concise. Okay. Okay, let's go on the format. Let me show you the example. Okay, now what should be in the news report writing format? First of all, you have to have your headline or your title. It is the most crucial element to attract viewers or readers, like I said. So the title is not in your script. The title is actually, if you can see in the news, is a very short line that carry the weight of your story. For instance, government officials accepting bribes are hunted. So when you see the headline or the title, you will get the gist of the story. What is the story is about? It's about government officials that accept bribes and they are being hunted. So when you say by hunted, it will always be the police or the SPRM or the MACC. SPRM is a Malay name, MACC is English initial. So from that one line, you would know what is the story is all about. But then again, who are the government officials? How much are they accepting bribes, and who are looking for them? So these are the questions that you have to put and think, so to help you to write the script. Now we go for the lead. Lead is the first intro, the most critical section
The first one was crucial. This is the critical one of the news for readers and viewers to understand the message of the news story. For example, this is the first two main paragraph. All right. Sorry, I flew. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption SPRM has detected several government officials suspected of being involved in corrupt activities in Cameron Highlands. That was the first one. Or you can write it this way. The government officials are suspected among the recipients of bribes that are the cause of government efforts to restore environmental damage in Cameron Highlands field. Okay, now, so there are two ways of writing it. And the first one, when you put it on the first intro, so people will actually listen and understand, oh, they have detected there are several officials suspected. You use suspected because they are not in court yet. So you cannot say that they have done it or they are not done it. So they are being investigated. So when they are being investigated, you have to use the word suspect. Disyaki. Dipercayai. That's the word. You cannot say has detected several government officials of being involved because you are not still confirmed. They are still being investigated. So you know that, okay, where is the corrupt activities happen? In Cameron Highlands. So you know from that one line what is happening in the story, the gist of the story, and it will help you whether you want to learn more about the stories or not. Does it interest you or not? So the first two paragraphs of your story is the most critical one because it will help people to, oh, okay, really? So now what? Or you can see how much bribe they are offering. For instance, 2 million. So when we say big money like that, people are more attracted to numbers. Numbers help a lot. So, okay, and then, yeah. And then the body of the stories, so refers to the rest of the remaining reports. It wasn't actually very hard because the story is very simple. So the first two lines are critical, and the next one are the relevant information that you can share to your viewers. Like, sources said the MECC will make follow-up arrests on the issue of leakage in Cameron Highlands soon. It's one of the point that you can share with this with the audience. All right. You have any questions so far? Or let me just go through with it, and then we can address questions. Yes, Miss Juliawati.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
the headline is the most important one, while the lead is the one that brings the story eye catcher, right?
Sorry, sorry, Safra. What is it again?
Sorry.
The headline.
When you read the story, do you put some emphasis on the title or the lead? Like you.
Okay. The headline is outside the script. It's actually if in the news, right, there are headline that is being written on the visual, if you can see. And later I will show you the video example, but the story is starting with the lead. What I mean is, so your story, the first two paragraphs has to be the lead. The headline is outside the story that is being put on the visuals when it is being presented by the newsreader. So your script started with the lead. So for instance, okay, let me see. Have anyone, has everyone received the sample scripts that I have shared?
Yes.
Okay, that one we will refer it towards the end of the session. Let me just go through the techniques first. All right. Okay, now. Okay, when we talk about writing format, we have the readover or the voiceover, like I've told you before. The readover is a short one, and the voiceover is the recorded version where they can be longer and up to 5 minutes sometimes. And how you want to, okay, sometimes when you go on an assignment, they give you press release. So when you read the press release, it's usually very long, and we have to use the skimming and scanning techniques. Okay, skimming is actually for the next slide. Skimming is actually a reading technique that can help you to read more quickly. So you will decide if the text is interesting and whether you should read it in more detail. If okay, this is a slide that I was talking about. So skimming and scanning, they work together. Skimming, like when you see, I will show you the example after this, is a technique that will make you read more quickly. Like you just skim the lines, whether it's important for you to decide whether it's important for you to know the story is interesting or not. Like you see the headlines sometimes when they use or they say clickbait that interests you to read more. So you skim to identify the main ideas in the stories. So how you skim, you can read the title, the subtitles, the subheadings to find out what the text is about. You can look at the pictures, the illustrations to give you more information about the topic. You can read the first and last sentence of each paragraph. If it's too long, you just don't have time. Or just don't read every word of every sentence. Let's just skim your eyes and look out for the keywords. So you can you see the keywords and then you will understand whether the article, what is all about, because you use the skim to choose which news stories you want to read. You use skim technique. So usually when you read article that is long, so you skim first, and then when you find out that the article is interesting enough for you to know, then you use the scanning techniques. Okay, for the next slide, scanning is actually work together with skim. After you find out you are interested enough to read the whole article, then you scan. You find particular facts without reading every word. So you just scan it through like a scanner. So it will help you to find specific information, a fast way. Because sometimes you have no time to read everything. You just have to choose, okay, this is important, this is not important, this is important and whatnot. So it will help you to identify which points are important or not. So you have, as long as the focus is to understand the general meaning and to ignore irrelevant information and just to double check that it is accurate. Okay, so how you scan, again, don't try to read every word. Just move your eyes quickly across the page until you find what you are looking for. Okay, can we move on the next slide?
Miss.
Yes.
When you're skimming and scanning, do you use like pens or highlighter?
Okay. Yes, you can if the paper is the hard copy version. What if you're using a phone? So you actually have to train your eyes to look on the important parts. But if you're not used to it, you can always practice on a newspaper, like a real newspaper, so you can see. Or you can print the news article online to practice. So you can identify which one and which one. Over the times, you will get used to it. So let me just show you the example. Okay, now can we move on to the next slide? All right, so you see the yellow color, I hope you can see the same slide as me. The yellow color is skimming, the green one is scanning. So skimming helps you to stop which article you want to read because there are so many articles. Okay, so how you choose? You skim first, you see the headlines. This is what I mean by headlines. Kedah MACC nabbed GLC CEO, 3 individuals for alleged power abuse. That's the headline, and you see the illustration and you see the logo. So it will tell you that this is about people who misuse their power, who are there, from where they are from. So who caught them? The Kedah branch of MACC. So from just that, by not reading throughout the article, you would know what is the article is about. So now, and you find out, oh, okay, I want to read this more. I wanted to know more about this. Then you start to scan on the article. So then you will read more. Would you read everything? Yes, you can if you have time. So probably you just scan it. Who is involved? The Chief Executive Officer of a government-linked company, GLC. Who? That answers your question. Who? Okay, what have they done? So they are alleged abuse of power. How much? 2.2 million in funds. So that's how you scan. It answers all the questions. So who said that? Who are they? All the suspects aged between 49 and 58. Where they were detained at Kedah MACC office. What time? 3:45 and 4:15 today. So it answers all the 5 W's and 1 H questions, all in 2 paragraphs. This can be done easily if it's newspaper because you are reading it. So for the TV scripts, we have to shorten a bit, or we have to divide the information. We cannot tell everything at one line because it's too much to comprehend at one time. So if TV scripts, what we would do, probably something like, the Chief Executive Officer of a government-linked company, GLC, was among 4 individuals arrested by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC. Stop. That's a 1 paragraph. Next paragraph. According, for instance, according to MACC source, the arrest, according to an MACC source, it is to facilitate investigations into alleged abuse of power and position involving about 2.2 million in funds. That's a 2 paragraph. That's what I meant by the lead. The first important 2 paragraph, which is critical for you to write for TV scripts. So you can put everything like they did, but it's too much. So usually for the suspect, where they were detained, who are they, we will put in the body of the story. Is that clear? Okay. Yes. All right, okay. Moving on. Let's see the next example. So the next example is okay. So when you skim, you check on the headline again. You check on in the illustration. Sometimes when you read the headline, will gig economy survive post-pandemic? Gig economy, what is that? You don't know what is gig economy. So you look at the illustration. Oh, there are the people who are the Grab riders, who are the taxi drivers, who are the people who sell foods, the small small sellers. So probably they are in the gig economy. So you think like that. So that's how you skim the article. Would you want to read more on the article? So if you feel that this is important, or this is something that you have been researching, so you read more on the article. So then that's how you started to scan. So the landscape of our economy is evolving. So they said that the landscape of our economy is evolving through, even though our current situation is in the pandemic. So this is something interesting, because we always listen people lost his jobs, or lost their incomes, but this economy, this gig economy, survived during the pandemic. But will they survive after the pandemic? So it depends on what you want to know in the article. Is there a question? I heard a sound. Okay, I think no. Okay, moving on to the next. Okay, can anyone tell me how to skim the article? Can anyone help me on this? Okay, when you skim, what you are looking at?
Title.
Okay, title. What is the title?
Klang Valley to enter phase 2. No more roadblocks between Selangor, KL, Putrajaya.
Okay, what you understand on the title?
Jam.
There's no roadblocks.
There's no roadblocks.
Yeah,
Where?
that's the
Okay, does it relate to you? Are you in Selangor, KL, or Putrajaya?
No.
No. Okay. Would you be interested to learn more?
No.
Okay, no. So this article does not raise Safura's interest because she is not affected to the roadblocks. But I would want to read more because I am affected to it. Because I live in Selangor, where the roadblocks are causing are causing restrictions for our movement. So I would read more. When I read more, then I can scan. Oh, it said that Klang Valley to enter phase 2. When? I would want to when. So I read more. So it's something like that. So you read on the article to scan on the story. Okay. So it's very important actually to know how to skim and scan, because it will help you to be a smart reader. You can read faster like that. Okay, can we move on to the next slide? Okay, this is a very colorful story. It's like a soft news kind of story. And we move to the next. All right. So Kelantan Deadpool gets first vaccine jab. If you watch the movie, you would understand. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So what's happened? So you look at the picture. So apparently, someone is wearing a costume to get his vaccine jab. So would you want to read it? I can see Safra smiling. She would want to read it, I think.
Of course, Deadpool.
Okay, Deadpool, right. The movie was amazing. So that's how they write an interesting headline to get your attention. So whenever you are writing, you have to think of something that will entice viewers or audience or readers' attention, that will attract them to read more. It's easier if you are writing for something soft stories like this, because soft stories usually involving about human interest kind of stories, so people naturally want to learn more. We don't want to learn on fact or hard news stories sometimes, but we have to read it because we have to read it. So stories like this can give a color into the scripts. You can add more words that can describe like a unique kind of equitation, a quotation for you to help and get more people to view or to watch you, right? So when you see the article, then you will want to know more. And then you read, oh, apparently, Wan Muhammad Farid Wan Mansur, he admired the character. So he was willing to splurge some cash to secure the superhero's costume. So in that one line, you would know that actually he just wants to create a different kind of attention, and because he likes the character so much, so he went for the vaccine. So it will attract more people to read it. So who is the person? Then the 38-year-old man, the article. So then it will give you more information. So all this, when you are writing, always keep in your mind the 5W and 1H question. It will help you to write more accurate, more brief, and more, so you would know how to put more prominent facts on the first two paragraphs. Okay, I will show you the next slide. For example, if you go to a prime minister event, they will give you a script, a speech text long like this. This is just a short example. Sometimes we receive like a 20 pages kind of scripts. So you don't have time to read everything. Well, we don't read everything. That's where we use the skim and scan technique. So we choose and pick the points that might um, be important to tell the people. Sometimes the points, there are 20 points. So which one is important? So we choose the current one, the ones that hasn't been reported before. So these are the important parts. So you would know who are speaking, where is he speaking, who are the people coming for the business conference, and the green lines I put there, what is happening. So there are the information. Next slide, please. So when you are reading script speech text like this, just look out the important points, and then you decide whether you want to read more or not. So you skim and then you scan, and then for instance, if you feel like, okay, number 13 is important, so then you read to the full one, so you will understand everything. So that's how you choose, because you don't have time to read everything. Okay, next slide. These are just the example of press news release that are being shared with the media people, that being shared for us when we come for the events or conference or any invitations. So they will give press release or speech tags. That's how we do the stories from scratch. Okay, let's go and see the examples of hard news scripts. For the next slide, please. Now, this is the actual script in the Nightline, our news bulletin. The first two paragraphs is the lead one. The National COVID-19 Immunization Program for adolescents aged 12 to 17 will be conducted via a scheduled walk-in method starting Thursday to facilitate and expedite the process. So you would know on the first paragraph what's happening. What is it all about? The immunization program for whom? For the adolescents aged 12 to 17. When? Um, when? Starting Thursday. Why? To facilitate and expedite the process. So this is a quite long one, but English usually they can put longer because the words are simpler than Malay language. So then, okay, usually our style is we will put who said that. So the second paragraph, we will put the person who actually said that the first paragraph. Okay. So the first Deputy Health Minister, Datuk Dr. Nur Azmi Ghazali, said some 156 public and integrated vaccination centres (PPVs) nationwide have been identified for the purpose, with the cooperation from the Education Ministry. Again, ask the question, who was speaking about this? The first Deputy Health Minister. And what is all about? Oh, apparently 156 public and integrated centres (PPVs) have been identified for what purpose? To facilitate and expedite the process. So it helps giving information for the first paragraph. The first two paragraphs are actually giving the gist of the entire of your scripts. So that's how we write it. And then the next line is usually the additional information. What should we put? So we put from the most important, less important, and least important. So usually at the end of the scripts are the backgrounds. Like for teenagers who are not attending school, they are allowed to walk in at any of the 156 PPVs. And if the center has reached its daily vaccine quota, they would be given an appointment for the next day, either at the said PPV or the nearest private clinic. You see, this is very important script because it conveys the information that is needed for the parents to register their children for vaccination. All right, so whatever you are writing, it carries a big responsibility on you. It carries a weight. You cannot simply write anything based on your understanding only. You have to check on the sources, you have to cross-reference, you have to double-check, because whatever you are reporting um, can be interpreted in a different in a wrong way. So at least if you get your facts right, then you are safe. So you have the responsibility to write a very, very correct and truest version of stories ever. So don't keep it lightly when you're writing the scripts, right? Okay, now let me see if I have more examples.
Miss,
Yes.
on the first hard news that you show,
Mm-hmm.
I see that you mentioned the health minister. The first time you mentioned his position, but the
Okay.
second time the third
The
paragraph,
third paragraph.
you didn't mention his title.
Okay.
Is it okay?
That's a good question. Thank you, Safura. I'm glad that you noticed it. Okay. The first one, the first time you mention someone, it has to be the position and the full name. So the second time or the third time you mention, you do not have to mention the position anymore. Just his name and with the title, because Malaysian we have Datuk, Datuk Sri, Datin, Tan Sri, Tuan Puan and everything. So you have to mention their position because they are being recognized like that. Because he's not your friend, so you cannot put Azmi. Who's Azmi? So no. So you have to put Datuk Dr. Nur Azmi, but without the position or without his title anymore. So it is shorter. All right?
Can I use he or his?
Yes, but the second mention has to be his name. And then he or she is after that. After like he also said something like that. Or in addition to that, he said something, something, something. You cannot say directly he on the second mention. The first must be the full one. The second one must be the shorter version without the title and the position. Not without the title, without the position. without his rank. Because it is showing that how we respect his position, and then because people don't get to read the script, they only listen. So when you are reading, and then the first time you mention the full one, okay. The second one, if you just say he, people might forgot who is he, what is he, what are you talking about, he is who. So naturally we always put the name so that people actually can relate that, oh okay, so Datuk Azmi said that. Okay. Okay, now before I go with the video, okay, before we go with the video, let me just remind you that when you are recording your video later for the soft and the hard use, don't forget to put introduction on you. You don't go straight away. The National COVID-19 Immunization Program for Adolescents. No, please introduce yourself.